Does anybody know why we plant the peas and the beans in the bed, other than for eating them?
Well, the peas will die down, won't they? And then the beans come up?
Yeah, it's a really nice succession. But then they also have a function in the garden bed with the other plants. That's it. So the bean family will take nitrogen from the air and with the plant through the roots, put it back in the soil. So the same reason we would add coffee grounds or fertilizer or poop onto the bed, the plants can actually perform that function. So we really like the idea of moving in the direction of just finding the companions that can grow together, and all the fertility cycle can just be grown in the garden itself. So then we can kind of work with just seeds and not have to be so oriented towards adding fertility.
Yeah.
So that's
That's nice.
Do just the beans do that, or do
the peas do also. So in that way we are able to grow back-to-back nitrogen fixing crops in between all the other crops. And they actually produce the most. The tomatoes, once they start, will also be harvesting for over a month. But they're great family feeders. And you know, at all of our markets right now, we're the last farm that still has peas. So I think in some way too, the peas really like all the companions of all these other plants. You can see they're starting to die back, but if you look, there's still peas everywhere. And so we're almost at the end of July, and we're still getting peas, and all the other farms are just done with them. So it's a really interesting thing where everything likes to grow together. We're a community farm, so the plants are part of it too. They're a community. And then the last thing I always want to tell people is we grow the same things almost in these beds every year. We don't rotate them. And one aspect of that is that once these all die back in the winter, we come through, and what we don't do is rip all the plants out. What we do is what we say, chop and drop. So all the organic material that grew in this place, we chop at the soil level, leave the roots to break down in place because that's the structure of the soil, and then mulch all the rest of it in place. And so what we've seen with that strategy is that all the material, all the nutrient cycle that needs to go back in can just come from the plants that grew in the same place. Because conventionally, the practice is to just rip it all up, take it all away, and that leaves a big hole in the process. So one thing the reason I'm sharing all this is so that we all know how simple gardening really is. And once you have a nice mature garden bed, which you can make just by sheet mulching soil, not by digging anything, just by covering it up, then all you have to do is give the material back every year and add a little bit of mulch. So you can see in here we have straw. So we will come through and just straw mulch it or wood chip mulch it this fall and winter. And that's it, one thing, and then it's done. And we'll come back and rake it out and plant our starts in it again next year. And it's very lush, rich, like forest floor soil. It doesn't, you can dig it with your hands. Versus in a conventional farm, you know, soil that's exposed and not covered up, you can't, it will compact over time.
Look at that.
But you can see this, I mean, all of our garden beds have this rich, tilthy soil, and what you're standing on, in contrast, is just straight sand. We have our well report, and we have 280 feet of sand. So don't let anybody tell you that there's bad soil. It's just a matter of giving back to the soil and feeding it. And then the soil has the consciousness to know what to do to be balanced. We don't have to figure that out. We don't have to be scientists.